Welcome back to the series on what and what not to do for cafe racer building, and if you're enjoying the series, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and encourage others to watch my lunacy. Let's get on with it. So we covered what to avoid, what not to buy, what not to get tempted by. What should you be looking for potentially? Somewhat ironically, from my own personal experience, pretty much what we covered in the first episode, what not to buy, but maybe not in the condition that I bought them in. So let's have a look. Well, you can't go wrong with a Honda CB750 or CB550, etc, etc. This one's been heavily modified, as you can see, front forks from a GSXR, but it's always a good starting point, and there's plenty of parts out there for them, both new and used. This is a slightly later model with the dual overhead cams, and again, if you watch the other series, you know it was just too good to resist. Prime example of bits and pieces that are readily available for these bikes: the Delcovic exhaust, a very popular item, not cheap but not expensive either for an entire exhaust system, and both my bikes are sporting that. The motors on these things are pretty rock solid, and as I said, there's all kinds of spare parts available for them still. And just while we're looking at this one, another word of advice: be very wary of universal fuel tanks that fit your Honda CB750, because this didn't. We had to do quite a lot of modification to where the fuel line is. I say I have helpers. I need help. And that's another top tip, honestly. Don't be afraid to call in an expert when you just can't resolve the situation. And while we're on the subject of Honda, here's one I resisted. Yes, the CX500. Very popular because of that beautiful V-twin, and as per all the other Hondas, very easy to get parts for, etc, etc. Number two, and in the same vein, the Suzuki GS series. Any of those. From the 550, 450, did they make a 450? I don't know. Up to the 1000, all great bikes, rock solid, plenty of spares out there, and here's one I did earlier. And in the same vein, Kawasaki KZ series. Yes, I know that's not a Kawasaki KZ front end, is it? No, it's a Yamaha R6 front end. Anyway, the KZ series is a very popular one to work with for the very same reasons as the Suzukis and Hondas. By the way, if you're at all interested in the nitty-gritty of any of these bikes that you're seeing of mine, there's full series on all of them, and the builds and the questions and the ponderings and the solutions, so check out the channel. And of course, last but not least, Yamaha XS series, very popular and somewhat simpler than the Virago. For some reason, the Yamaha Virago is very popular to convert into a cafe racer, which requires a little bit more work because the stance is all wrong, right, to start with. I know we touched on the exotics last time, and I kind of warned you away from them, but Ducati Monster is never a bad place to start. At this time, still relatively easy to find parts. Of course, they're more expensive than their Japanese counterparts. And last but not least, yes, BMW, which I understand stands for Beautifully Made Wonder Bikes. Though I have no personal experience. Not entirely true. The first bike I ever rode on was a BMW R90S. Yeah, one of these. Pretty cool, though. I was merely a passenger. Anyway, that beautiful Boxer twin is very popular and a very beautiful piece of engineering, I have to say. Quite unique. Unfortunately, increasingly expensive. But the K series is also a popular bike to convert. It's a strange looking motor, but it can be made to look really interesting. Of course, there's other makes and models that people like to mess around with in terms of cafe racers. Moto Guzzi springs to mind. Again, probably not so easy to find spares for. The short answer is keep it simple and work with machines where there are readily available spares and aftermarket products for. Next time around, we're going to be looking at budgets and how to keep control of all that. And so thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching. If you thought it was any good, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down here for next time, and of course encourage others to watch my lunacy.